I'm Tim. Welcome to my channel. Happy April Fool's Day. Fair warning to anyone out there that is around people that enjoy doing pranks. This is their day, their moment. So hopefully everyone can have a good attitude to those people that want to prank them, and you know, just let it happen. I come from a family of pranksters and people loving to have lots of fun with pranks. So I'm sure there's some tomfoolery going on today. Today's going to be working on the back. So we're going to be doing the back row to start out with, just setting up one of my dumbbells real fast. I haven't consistently worked out back in a while. And one of the problems with the way I was doing my working out is I was trying to find or following a set schedule of like Mondays biceps, Tuesdays chest, and Wednesdays legs, and so on. And it kind of like the days I would miss, I wasn't going back and really redoing it. So some things were taking a hit. And then when I started doing the Murph training on Mondays, that really kind of scrambled things. So what I'm going to be doing now is the thing that makes the most sense, which I should have been doing the whole time, which is just having, my workouts in order, and if I miss it, just doing that one next. So instead of having set days of what days of the week I'm working out which, just keep going in the same order as we go along. Previously, since doing a Murph Mondays, Tuesday would be biceps, but today I'm going to be doing back. So much fun. Alright, that's good. I got my 10 pounds just to warm up. That was like cracking a bit. So that's important to warm up. Just kind of want to just make sure everything loosens up, everything's ready to go. Don't want to jump into the heavy and just tear something. Really take the time to listen to your body, see where it's happy or not happy. Just jumping in would be the last thing you want to do, especially with heavier weights. And just the heavier you go, and I think it's funny, like when I was younger and I wasn't doing as heavy weights, and you hear everyone talk about form, but you never hurt yourself. And you just don't realize you're not hurting yourself because it's not like a heavyweight. You can hurt yourself with bad form on lighter weights, but if you've got bad form, the second you start throwing around heavy weights, it's over. You're gonna really screw yourself up. So making sure that you take time. course, whenever I think about warming up, or half the time I think about warming up, I'm reminded of Woody Harrelson in Zombieland. When that guy's warming up, he's like, "Oh, I don't believe in it." Did you ever see a lion warm up before he takes down a gazelle? What's up, sad spooky robot? How you doing? But I think warming up's important. I think one thing that keeps people from warming up too is when they're in the gym. It just looks it's like not as impressive to grab the 10-pound weights. When you're younger, that ego is so easily damaged, and so you have to maintain it so much that it's be hard to do the responsible thing, not just jump on the heavy. But that's what will make the difference between athletes that are able to stay in it and people that just burn themselves out on that ego. Test reset robot says, "I'm pretty good. I have to warm up. Otherwise, I think my arms would fall out." Man, it is critical. Especially like later in the week. Like I feel like on Mondays and even Tuesdays, it's not as bad. But after you've been working out all week, it's really important to check in because you can, if you're like me, you will do dumb things like irritate something on Monday and keep working it out on Monday and keep working it out on Tuesday. And Wednesday it's really important to check in and be like, hey, like, is this dumb? Am I really, really hurting something? I've gotten better about listening to my body, but it's still hard because I still have the side of like I can work through this and not realize like what that you're doing some real damage. So that's where that stretching, especially or warming up during the later part of the week, is so important. Make sure you didn't tweak anything because if you catch something early, you can just lay off for a few days and it'll heal and you'll be fine. But if you don't and you just keep pushing through it, you can give yourself some major injuries. Like how I tore my pectoral muscle. There were plenty of warning signs I could have listened to, but I just refused to listen to my body and kept pushing it till I tore it. I got the 20-pound dumbbells. Still warming up. That's what you're about. Says I hurt my foot. I had to stop for weeks. The feet, that's a hard one. Like feet are when you really hurt your foot, that's rough. And I think we forget how much we depend on our feet. And although it sounds silly, because we all walk around, but when they're really hurt, it's not an easy thing to deal with. And especially if you like to run, you can easily walk around and be fine, and then the second you start pounding that pavement and you're out there running hard on the street, you find out like it's not ready. And that's one of the worst, is when you are all psyched up to run, like you're really ready to go and you're excited and like everything. You get out there, you're taking your pre-workout or whatever it is you do before you work out, and get there, you start jogging, it feels good, and you hit that first hard run, you're like, it's not ready. It's like heartbreak. You just want to go, like you worked yourself up for it. I tore a muscle in my arch. You don't realize how often you move your feet until it hurts every time you move. Yeah, I can't imagine. Your arch would be, that sounds really bad. How long did that take to heal? The only thing I've done on my feet ever is I broke one of my little toes, and that took a long time to heal. It took a few weeks before I could do anything strenuous, but it took like 3 months to fully stop hurting. It's a long time. And I'm sure you did that thing where you like go to work out just to find out it can't. Like I said, that's the worst. Like when you finally think you're gonna be free from an injury and it's over and you can jump back into something and you find out you can't. That is incredibly frustrating. I used to do that with my shin splints all the time. I would think my shin splints were done and healed up, and I could go back to running. And you start running, you're like, oh, nope, it's not ready yet. That's Buki Robot says, yep, I was literally taking baby steps. Yeah. There was this period where you hurt something and you just, no matter what, like you just keep hurting it. For me, I always forget, it's this bone right here, the part that sticks out of your foot. I kept doing this thing where I would just smack it on things for no reason. And I'd gone most of my life without banging it on something. And then one time I hit it on something really hard and really hurt it. And it just seemed like after that, it would just magically kept banging on stuff. You walk by, you hit it on something. And that like sucked because it took so long to heal. It was never a problem before. It was just like magically once it was hurt, I don't know what it is, but the brain just kept like screwing it up. For your shoulders or neck muscles is also really annoying. Yeah. Yes. Also, like neck injury is always scary because you just don't know when you first do something to your neck how bad it's gonna be. All right, we got the 50-pound dumbbells. Shoulder can be really rough. Turns out you need your shoulders for a lot. I've been fortunate to only do like minor things to my shoulders. I have a cousin that got his shoulder just destroyed in wrestling in high school, and he had to have surgery and everything. Has a giant scar on it from the surgery, and it sucked because the guy that did it on purpose. It's either his dad or my other uncle was the coach. And they had gotten mad at him, so he took it out on my cousin and just ruined his shoulder. And it sucked too because my cousin was a really good wrestler and had a promising future in wrestling, having it snatched away from him. But you gotta really, really be careful anytime you're rolling with somebody. You can't roll with people that are idiots. I think the much better like experience with working out, or the fun part, is obviously not the injuries. But I think it's really cool when you go to lift something that looks really heavy and you can make it look easy, and you shock yourself by how much you can lift something up or move something heavy. That's always fun. Surprise yourself with how strong you've gotten. Whew. There was a time when I was younger, me and my brother were a year apart. He's my younger brother. But we would wrestle and we would fight all the time when we were in high school. And I broke my left arm for pretty bad one time. And during that time where it was broken, my brother got, he's as strong as me in some ways and stronger than me in others. And it made wrestling and fighting just completely change. It was a lot harder. He was getting better. And it kind of stayed that way. I could always beat him in a fight because I was meaner than him. And my brother was more focused on technique over just tearing each other apart. But when I went all the way to college and just life, and my brother stayed home, I had some hard jobs. I worked, moving down bags of seed all day, and I was working out. And my whole goal was just to close that strength gap and annihilate him when the next time we wrestled. And I think I was about 21, and he would have been 20. And he'd been working out, but you just can't compete with, actually doing like manual labor and stuff. It's just the harder workout. Working all day with your hands. And I just annihilated him. And he was so frustrated because I could just pick him up and throw him around like a rag doll. And it's definitely not what he'd been used to at that point. And a couple times he was pretty frustrated. My grandma had to save him at one point. All in good fun. Nobody got hurt. But it was certainly frustrating for him to realize just in that time how much smaller he'd gotten, or how much bigger I'd gotten. All right, we're gonna go down to 40 pounds. That was always my favorite thing though. Like me and my brother, we're both like really strong and way stronger than we looked when we were younger. And it was a lot of fun, like when somebody would grab you and they would think like, oh, I'm gonna toss him around because I'm bigger. And you just completely miscalculate how strong you were and how heavy. So one thing about someone with a lot of muscle, and you just don't know how to judge how heavy they're going to be. So people would try to wrestle with us, and we'd be a lot heavier than they realized. Just from that, what they say is true. Like muscle weighs heavier than fat, or muscle weighs more than fat does. So when you're younger, people misgauge that a lot. And every advantage helps. We shocked more than a couple of Marines when we were younger because we lived down in Oceanside in California, which is next to Camp Pendleton where the Marines train. And you get some young Marines out on the beach that would end up challenging to wrestle, or the conversation would come up. And they would just think we were like 14 and 15, they could just easily destroy us. And we're shocked when we would just rock them. But when you got a brother that you're constantly wrestling with and fighting with, it's the best training. And for a while there, it was like the Pink Panther constantly having my brother come out of nowhere and attack me when he thought it would be advantageous. My favorite will always be when my brother and a friend of ours thought that it would do a blanket party. And I was sleeping and they threw a blanket on me and went to hit me and just got up and wrapped them up both in the blanket and just annihilated them. It was fun. Backfired on them. Didn't quite think it through. I'll never forget the day that I underestimated someone's strength, though, and also didn't realize how out of shape I'd gotten. Like, my brother-in-law is smaller than me, probably by maybe 4 inches. And I thought for sure I was just gonna throw him around. We started wrestling, and it's the first time like my just like strength just gave out. Like, I had no endurance, and I'd never like been that way before. But I'd been working a new like job where I was driving all the time and was eating a lot of junk food and just playing video games, and I was so embarrassed. There was only like 3 times in my life I lost like that, and that was one of them. And I always want to wrestle him again, but he hurts himself a lot, and he's got like a bad shoulder now, and he uses his body for work. So if I hurt him on accident, I would never hurt him on purpose, but if I hurt him on accident, that's a pretty big problem. So it's limited my like ability to get any sort of relief from that embarrassment of losing to him. Very, very frustrating. But the other time I lost was to a guy named Jimmy Fitzpatrick. He was the first guy to ever introduce me to the chokehold. I thought we were wrestling. I didn't know what chokeholds were, and that was very frustrating to discover. I think I could have beat him in a straight up wrestling match, but I just hadn't learned any sort of submissions, and he knew those. He just destroyed me. That was my first introduction to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, was from that guy. Thankfully, he was nice about it. Like, he wasn't a gloater. And then I think Jimmy Fitzpatrick, I know he did. He went on to be a professional dirt bike rider, motorcycle. Do some cool stuff. I moved away from the area where we grew up, and went to the fairgrounds where I was at to see some monster trucks and motocross, and he was there just flying through the air. It was pretty cool. I think he rode for Metal Militia, but I have to look it up. His name was Jimmy Fitzpatrick. He was a cool guy. can remember every time I've lost. Every time I was beat. That's a because there's losing like you know in a wrestling match, like in a tournament you might lose, but you don't feel like you really lost. You weren't like being whooped. You might have like lost on some points, but it wasn't like he was destroying you. That never feels like, oh, I really lost. But like when someone just works you and you have just no opportunity to score any points, that's when it's like that sticks with you. You know they just annihilated you and you had no chance. So I remember those moments. And then there's like the frustrating moments where you like do something stupid in the fight and almost lose, or you look bad. Like in 10th grade, I had a math class, and there was a junior in the class. I somehow ended up in an advanced math class. Like I was supposed to be taking Algebra 1, but magically it tested into Algebra 2. I still don't know how I did it, but I ended up in Algebra 2. And this guy was just really annoying in class. There's this junior, and I embarrassed him in class. I'm just calling him out, making fun of him. He got really mad, and he came up to me after class and got in my face, and I just grabbed him by the throat right away, and he like pushed back, and I stepped backwards, and I fell over a bush, and like because I'd done like judo rolls and stuff, like I got back to my feet right away. But then the teacher came out before I could hit him or fight, and it's really embarrassing because everybody laughed because I fell over. And that was frustrating. But then that guy never wanted to fight later. It was annoying because he was bigger than me. Like he was probably at least 4 or 5 inches taller than me, and he was older. But it was at a very well off school, and kids there just didn't want to fight, which was very frustrating to me because I'd always been fighting. I imagine that my grabbing his throat probably made him not as inclined to fight. It's not a typical move that people expect in here in high school. He just had such a chokeable neck. I got like 5 more minutes. But that was embarrassing. Falling over. It did though. What it did though is grant me the wisdom going forward to pay attention to my surroundings and to really judge whether or not I wanted to fight in a particular place, and really helped me make a better decision. When I was like 16, I was living in China, and I was in this restroom, and an older guy, in a very vulgar way, propositioned me, and I was like, there was the temptation to fight, as in my mind, like push him away from me or do something, and all I could think though is I looked around the bathroom, everything was wet, it was slippery tile floor, and all I thought is, if I push this guy and get into an altercation, I'm pretty sure I could beat him up. But if I fall down by some happen chance and knock myself up, do I want to wake up in that situation? And it's like, nope, let's ignore him, say no thank you, and walk out. And I did, and everything was fine. But I think if I hadn't fallen, like, tripped over that bush in 10th grade, I might have thought, like, oh yeah, let's fight this guy. Which also would have been stupid because I would have gotten in trouble with the police. And you don't want to go to jail in China. Even it's not your fault. But that situation like set me up for the future for being able to deal with unwanted solicitations from people a lot easier. It also made some poor guys be heartbroken. Because even in the early 2000s, like when people would take a chance, when guys would take a chance of making a pass at you, there was like some expectation that you might have a, very adverse reaction to that offer and, do something or say something stupid. And I just decided I was going to work with it the same way that I did anytime a girl flirted with me that I wasn't particularly interested. I would just be nice and play dumb. I didn't understand like what they were going for, and then when they would be more blunt, like, "Oh no, thank you, no." But just because I wasn't so like automatically like, "No, like get away from me," they would think that there was an opportunity there that wasn't. And the worst was this one I thought the worst for was this waiter in this restaurant that would always be like flirting with me and making passes, and I just ignore it and be nice. And I would talk to him like we'd have perfectly fine conversations and stuff, but he was always taking a shot. And then I came in one time with my wife, and just the heartbreak on his face made me feel very, very bad for him. it's time for me to go. Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate it. I hope you have a Tuesday. Have a good Tuesday. And God bless you. Thank you so much. Bye.